Well, I'm going to speak on gait analysis. See, I was into kinematic thanks to Stefano Bini. I was a ACAS fellow, and he was a secretary at that time. I visited him, and this is at his OR, and then he took me to wonderful beaches in California. And we invited him 2017, and we did a live surgery workshop. He operated a live surgery, and that is the time we were introduced at AIMS into kinematic alignment. And thereafter, we have been doing initially we used to do less, but now it's more than 80% of our knees are kinematically or functionally aligned, right? So this is a study. This was a thesis basically given to one of our students on gait analysis in mechanical versus kinematic alignment in total knee replacement. Thank you, Stefano, for everything. He's here. I just saw him. Yeah. So the gait has two cycles: stance phase and the swing phase. The stance phase has a heel strike, foot flat, and mid stance, and the swing phase is around 40%, which has the initial swing, mid swing, and the terminal swing. The key gait parameters in total knee in stance phase is where the implant bears weight, and there comes the action of the knee adduction movement, which peaks here, making it critical for understanding the medial compartment loading. The swing phase, you have to have around 50 to 60 degree of knee flexion. If the flexion is limited post TKR, these patients may compensate with some sort of circumduction, may not be happy. Double support is there, which occurs briefly at the beginning and at the end of the stage. So the gait parameters for knee OA are temporospatial, which are basically walking speed, stride length, which reflect the overall mobility. The kinematic is just by the knee flexion during swing, extension during stance, and reflects the movement pattern. The kinetics is by the knee adduction movement, which is the external toe pushing the knee into varus. The clinical significance of knee adduction movement is it's a surrogate marker for medial compartment loading, and a high CAM is linked to OA progression and implant loading. Right. So in mid stance, if you have a larger KM, so the patients would have more pain. The load would be much more. It's a surrogate variable if you're doing a kinematic analysis, and it is an implication also, right? So the purpose of this study was to compare the clinical, functional, and gait parameters in kinematic and mechanically aligned knees. This was a prospectively randomized controlled trial, duly registered with the CTRI. So we had the same patient. On one patient, we did a kinematic, caliper-based unrestricted kinematic alignment. The other knee, we did a mechanical alignment, and this was done simultaneously at the same sitting. So as a consort diagram, we had 25 knees, 25 patients, which were randomized. The sample size was 25 into 15 knees. None was lost to follow-up. This was done in 2019 to 2021 at our institute. We screened around 31 patients and excluded 6. Of those, we did the normal prompts. The radiological were the scanograms, and all the angles were calculated. Intra-parameters, the preference of each of the knee, as well as any gait analysis. Right. The exclusion, any patients who had more than 30 degree of varus or valgus, or more than 20 degree, or had any other operation like osteotomy done around the knee, or any ligamentous instability where a high constraint was required, was not included in this. The allocation was done using an opaque envelope technique with the computer-generated randomization. The envelopes were opened in the OT, and so the treatment allocation was like the detected knee was to be done kinematically, and the contralateral knee was to be done mechanically. Right, so this is just an example of this. And then we did a gait analysis on these patients using the simple Helen-Hayes protocol. We had markers on the pelvis, thigh, leg, and foot. And AIMS had the only 12-camera gait lab in the country at that time. So these are the markers there. And there was a standing task as a walking task, which was standing task was on a force plate for steady state for 5 seconds, and walking was patient was asked to walk barefoot, and we assessed all the temporal gait parameters, the spatial gait parameters, the kinematic management, as well as the kinetic management. So this is our gait lab, and this is the analysis that was done. So when the subject is prepared, the standing task was patient was asked to stand on a force plate for 5 seconds to capture the standing angles and ground reaction forces. Patient was asked to walk barefoot in a calibrated area. Gait data and recording was done, and thereafter all the parameters were processed. So the basic demographics was, we had 25 patients. Age was around 62 years of age. BMI was less than 30 in most of these patients. They were mainly 22 females and 3 females, mostly in the age group of 60 to 65 years. As far as the gait parameters are concerned, we found that, since the cadence and gait, you cannot distinguish because one side kinematic and one side mechanical was done. Other than that, the differences were not statistically significant as far as the stance phase or the swing phase or stride length or stride time was concerned. The other scores were also not significant. However, they showed comparatively equally good gait quality based on these metrics. The knee adduction movement arm was also calculated, and then there we found that the mechanical, the kinematic group had a better result as compared to the mechanical group. It was 0.81 as compared to 0.91, which was significant. And the knee flexion movement also was calculated here, although the difference was not much, no significant difference, but it was better with the kinematic group. The functional scores, so this was till 1 year. We are waiting for our 5-year result to come so that we can then publish. At 1 year, there was not statistically different, scores as far as the forgotten joint score was concerned. However, the kinematic group aligned more closely with the normative values. So these are the forgotten joint scores. So they were better with the kinematic as compared to the mechanical. The Oxford knee score also, both the techniques had significant improvement, not much difference, not in terms of statistical significance, but better with the kinematic as well as the knee society score also, and maybe these are all because of the ceiling effect of these scores. So these are just representation of this. We also asked the patients regarding their preference, and we found that 60% of the knees had no preference, 28% preferred the kinematic knee, only 12% preferred the mechanical knee. Which knee looked more normal to you? 16% preferred kinematic alignment, 72% had no preference, 12% had mechanical. We also asked the patients that which knee do they prefer overall. 32% patients preferred the kinematic knee overall. So at that time, this was the only study in which both techniques were done in the same patients, so the patients served at their own control. There was no study as such being done in any South Asian population, and we had, although the follow-up was 1 year, we are still waiting for the 5-year follow-up to really go and publish this study. The limitation was that since the same knee is being used, so sometimes it is difficult for the patient to compare or discriminate the function in between the knee, the overall function especially. Extreme of deformities were not included. The sample size was not much. It was a single center study with a relatively short follow-up of 1 year at that time. So the conclusion was that the kinematic alignment TK achieved similar outcomes to a mechanical alignment. There was no increase in complication. Although we found the amount of bony resection was much less in kinematic alignment, the functional outcomes were better in kinematic alignment. As far as the gait analysis were concerned, the kinematic alignment group showed significantly less knee adduction movement. Other parameters were not significant. Longer follow-up at 5 years. We are again going to do another gait analysis on these patients and then see the result. So we were also shortlisted for one of the CCOT best paper, although we could not get it. And if you see the literature, there are few studies which say that the difference is not much, but there are other studies also which say that the kinematic alignment TK more closely resembles that of a normal healthy control. And this was from Vikram Shah, who also showed that there is benefit from restoring natural gait movements with kinematic alignment. And this is with the inverse kinematic alignment, which shows that patients receiving this had greater resemblance to that in healthy controls than the mechanical alignment. So I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Vijay.